I've been a resident of Boise, Idaho for over 800 years. I just don't get why this always happens to me every single time.
Oh, come on, guys. You get it. You get it, right?
Hello, and welcome to the Rag Company Podcast, where normally there would be three of us.
Yeah, normally.
Normally. But I did title this episode Change of Plans, and without even realizing it, I willed it into existence.
That's
there
right.
was a change of plans because I forgot Anthony is out today.
Yeah, we totally did not know that.
Spaced it. He
Crazy.
mentioned that last week that he was going to be gone in a few days. I didn't remember that one of those days was going to be the podcast.
I think we thought, he said, I'm going to be gone for a few days. And we're like, yeah, there's a long weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're
We'll
all
see you
gonna be
on.
gone
We're all going to
a
be
few
gone,
days.
dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean, like, I'm going to be gone for a few days after the weekend off.
It's like, what,
So-
the long weekend wasn't enough? God.
For some people, apparently not.
Okay, lucky son of a gun. There we go. Well, anyway, we're here. We've got some stuff going on. Obviously, if you were here, you guys enjoyed the sale. That was great.
Yeah. So sale was going on. Mm-hmm. It just ended.
Yep.
So hopefully you guys took advantage of those great deals we had over the weekend, and that you took advantage and got the sticker, the postcard.
That's got to be one
the
of my
Rag
top,
Company
top three
postcard
favorite stickers
sticker.
we've ever done.
Nate knocked it out of the park.
He really did.
So-
and the detail in it.
Yeah, and again,
so
it's a kind of a he did a little homage to all of our partners. So super cool to have that on there. And it was really, really cool. So hopefully you guys got a hold of it and you got yours coming.
Yeah.
So
that's nice. But, I mean, apart from that, you guys are obviously joining in because you want to hear us talk about our weekends, shoot the breeze a little bit on whatever's going on. Without Anthony here to give his normally, like, insane stories, he seems to wind up in trouble every single time. Just something crazy goes on.
I know, right?
We have fairly chill weekends
it's gonna
by
be a very
comparison.
Quiet.
Yeah, I'm
quiet
thinking as I
podcast.
got to get a frog out of my throat. This is really, I'm struggling this morning, but trying anyway. Why don't you tell me a little bit about
All
your
right,
weekend?
Dane,
Please.
that's a good one. So as you guys all know, I did buy Carly and I bought a travel trailer.
Heck yeah.
So it's been sitting on the side of our house all week.
Right.
And one of the biggest things was we needed to get it into our actual RV pad. Now, the hard part I had is that I can't see behind the trailer.
Don't they nowadays have like remote
Some do.
cameras? you
So
can
this is
install?
wired for a camera. I just
Okay.
I don't have one,
Sure.
and I didn't put one in.
I mean, back in the day,
Yeah.
nobody had that
Yeah.
option. So that's a nice luxury today.
So the neat thing is they make them. I've been looking. They make
Yeah.
wireless units.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was saying.
You can
It's
just
like
hook it
it's,
up on the back and then have a screen on your dash, a secondary screen that you can hide in
Costco
your.
sells a kit like that for like
Yeah.
$140. It's like
Yeah.
one of those Type S things.
Yeah, and you can hide it in your jockey
Yeah.
box or glove box or center console and pull it out if you need and mount it.
They have one that's like a license plate mount one if you want. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been sitting all week,
Yeah.
and my cars have been all over my neighbors' places at my neighbors' houses.
places.
Yeah, I've been
They
parking
don't
them.
mind?
I've been parking them, and I've asked.
Okay.
Right,
okay.
so
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
just
if you just
willy
park in
nilly
their driveway
parking
and they look at it
three
and go,
cars,
"What's
or
this?"
2 cars, right? So anyway, I've been working on the Suburban a little bit, and biggest thing was I started to notice I had one neighbor who was kind of complaining, even though there were no cars in her place.
Okay.
She was complaining for the other neighbor who said it was perfectly fine for me to park there. So we left it as it was. I said, well, don't worry, we'll get it. We're going to get everything moved.
Eyes.
Yeah. Biggest thing was, like you guys saw and heard last week, I had to get that whole area prepped. I had to cut down some tree branches. I had to clean out some trash. I had to do a dump run. I had to get the area ready.
It's very different from the tent trailer you had previously.
Much bigger.
Those
they're-
trees got a scooch.
Yeah. So anyway, Friday afternoon, I called my dad.
Okay.
And I said, this is something I need Brad Gates' help for.
Now wait a second. He didn't even know.
He didn't even
you
know
had a
about it.
trailer.
No, I hadn't told him. So I said, hey, wondering what you're doing tonight. He goes, what's going on? And I said, I need your help backing this trailer in that I bought. And he goes, what kind of trailer did you buy? And then I told him, and he was like, yeah, I'll come over.
Oh, he's
I'd
stoked
love
about
to.
it. That's
So
nice.
that was really nice. They, because you always expect your dad to tell you,
Yeah.
Hey, when I bought the world famous 2006, Carly and I bought the world famous 2006 Hyundai Elantra.
You're going to regret this.
We took it over to him. We paid like
decision.
$18,000 for it. Took it over to him. We were
Buying
20.
one new.
I was 26. And we were like, well, we need a car to drive back and forth to Utah and visit Carly's family. And we need something reliable with air conditioning and an automatic.
And to be fair, Hyundai's reputation was a little different back then too.
No, it was really good. It was 100,000 miles, 10 years. It was amazing.
And the warranty's amazing.
No, the Hyundais for that was the reason you bought a Hyundai. So my head, I'm like, I got a car that should be bulletproof, right? I talked to my dad.
It's dead simple.
And he's like, you just lost all your equity when you drove it off the lot. This is going to be a horrible financial decision.
The classic isms you hear from any old guy who
17
thinks
years later, I drove that thing to work.
And it's not
today.
Wrong.
Like
it's right there. I saw it.
Yeah, I drove it 17 years later. It's been paid off for years. So I was worried, right? I was like, here we go. I got Carly and I had our spiel, like why we bought it, all this stuff. My dad was so excited. He was so stoked. He helped me back it in. He got the thing. We got it all put in. Yeah. He loved it. He was like, "Wow, what a great deal." He's glad I bought it at Bish's. He was glad that Carly and I had been doing the research, that we had been making sure that we had done all the planning. He
didn't just go willy-nilly.
He was so proud of us, and that made a huge difference.
Okay.
For Carly and I, because it was, it's always awkward. You're like, oh, what are they going to say? Is it going to get uncomfortable? It was great. This weekend, though, I didn't have a car to detail. I didn't schedule anything because I wasn't sure what Carly and I had planned. If we wanted to just get up and go camping if we wanted to, or if we wanted to work on some stuff and try and get things taken care of, or just relax at home. So it was a kind of a rainier weekend.
Okay.
So Saturday, we ended up, I had pulled the Suburban in because I was going to change the spark plugs. Mm-hmm. And I started to try and do that, and it was pretty hard. So I called my dad. He gave me some tips. I did some things. I never got it. Right? So I spent all weekend trying to work on getting the spark plugs changed. I couldn't get the plug wires off without breaking them. So I just said, you know what? I'll leave it. I got an appointment with Boise Muffler on Thursday. I'll see if maybe they'll be generous and install those parts for me. We'll see. But basically, Carly and I had some shopping to do. So we went to Costco together as a family, wandered around, dropped Augie off at a buddy's house. It was warm on Saturday.
Yeah, it was pretty warm.
Enough that Augie could go swimming with his friends. But it got rainy the rest of the week, or the rest of the weekend. So Saturday, we did that. Then we picked up Og, and then we decided we'd take the kids out to dinner. The hard part with going to dinner for people that have children is sometimes the children just don't understand or they don't want to eat, and that's the problem with my children is they don't like eating things.
The timing isn't working for them.
Yeah, and it's just like they don't like. So they're like, well, Augie will say I want Red Robin, and Hadley will go, I want Chick-fil-A, and it's like, no, we're gonna go to one place. And Carly and I were like, well, she goes, well, I don't mind fast food, and I said, but I don't want fast food. So now you got 4 people trying to figure out what the restaurant is. And so we had to talk about it. I read the menu. We ended up settling on the Ram.
Oh, okay.
Went there. Yeah. And everybody ate. Everybody enjoyed their dinner. And it was a huge success for Saturday night. So a big family win.
Okay, so nobody was mad you ended up.
No. The hard part was, though, we ordered dessert for the kids. So they got a chocolate milkshake. Hadley did. And Augie got a dirt cup. That's where they do like Oreos and they put worms.
I was going to say, this is like the cup of worms.
Yeah. And halfway through them eating them, Carly took a bite and she goes, that tastes like strawberry. Because Hadley goes, this doesn't taste like chocolate. And it tasted like strawberry. And so she tried Augie's and it tasted like strawberry. And then I tried it and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. It does taste like strawberries.
I'd never be mad at tasting like strawberry ice cream or something.
But it just, it was, Carly goes, it means that they made a strawberry milkshake and they didn't clean off their milkshake machine. Uh-huh. They didn't clean it.
Yeah.
So it's probably had strawberry ice cream mixed in the chocolate. So it was just kind of, it was just one of those things.
Rub a little dirt on it.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
So
Cross-contamination.
Saturday was that, just getting some shopping done. Sunday, we got up, went over to my mom's house, did her yard, got all her plants and stuff.
Is she still at the same place with the water wheel and all that? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she went to Texas. So she's out of town for the next 2 weeks. So we went over to take care of her place and make sure, mail's in.
Yeah.
All the plants are watered. None of the toilets have exploded or anything. So just make sure everything looked right. And then we had to knock out some grocery shopping. So me and the kids went over to Winco. And here's the rub. Sunday, we walk into the Ram, 5:30, 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. It's empty.
Really?
Empty.
Nothing.
Right? So we're like, maybe it's the fact that, the football game's over because it was a matinee game up at UW. So we thought people are probably still either hanging out at their friends' houses or whatever, or they're just full. Also, it was Labor Day weekend, right? So we're assuming maybe that's why. So my reckoning, I'm like, it's Sunday. It's 11:30 on a Sunday, noon. Let's go get grocery shopping done. We'll hit Winco. Can't be that busy. Wrong. Everybody and their dog was at Winco.
That's where they were.
It was packed in there. So me and the kids, Carly's like, yeah, I'm just going to chill in the car. So I told the kids, we got to hurry. I don't want mom sitting in the car that long. So we hustled through the store, got everything we could that we needed and back out and then back home. And then just a chill hangout day. Sunday, we were going to do the balloons because it was a Spirit of Balloon, Boise balloon rally. But because of the rain, that wasn't possible. No. So Sunday night, we're getting ready to, get the kids in the tubs and stuff. The kids go, we're sleeping in the trailer tonight.
Oh, okay.
I said, all right. So I hook up the power and get it all, my dad and I tried to get it leveled as best we could on the pad. But we hooked up got the kids in the bunks, got all their lights. Carly and I said, we're just right out the door if you need us. And they slept the whole night in the trailer to the point that I woke up Augie at about 7:30 on Monday and Hadley stayed in there for about another hour and slept.
Wow.
Which is usually the opposite.
So they actually slept better out there.
They loved it. They were like to the point last night, they were like, we're going to sleep in the trailer again. We said, nah, it's a school night. Like, you guys could sleep in here. But they were stoked. They loved it. They had a blast. We had a big rainstorm Sunday night. Augie said it woke him up because it was closest to the ceiling.
Yeah, it was kind of brief too. It was like just an hour or two.
Yeah. So I didn't get to hear it. Hadley didn't hear it. So we were good. But Monday, we ended up getting all of our Halloween decorations up. So we spent the afternoon, getting all that done and getting that stuff all set up and ready to go.
Still like a month and 3/4 to go, but
yeah, I mean, but that's how we do. My house, like we always first week of September, we get the house decorated because we technically have I think we have more Halloween decorations than we do Christmas decorations.
I believe that. I think the people who are into Halloween tend to be so into Halloween that it just outweighs everything.
Well, and
else.
Ed Iverson already got a jump start.
Yeah, well, Ed Iverson is Halloween year-round.
He's already done. He's got it going. He's
operating with a skeleton crew no matter what day of the year it is.
But yeah, so then back to work today. Monday or Friday, though, something that I just wanted to touch on that was kind of a unique situation. So Carly had a issue at school. She had two kids get in a fight at the new school that she's at.
And what'd she do there in relation to the students?
She's the administrative assistant.
Okay.
There. So she had two kids get in a fight. She said they're about Augie's age. And she had a session where they told the kid, hey, we're going to call your parents. Mm-hmm. And the kid freaked out. But terrified, freaked out.
Like the parents really scare the kid, freak him out.
Yeah, enough that it freaked her out.
Okay, yeah, because then you worry about, are these parents not kosher? What's
you don't know, and we don't have an idea.
Are you in a safe household kind of questions?
Yeah, and the kid was just defending himself.
Okay.
So
so he was on the receiving end mostly?
So it really affected her Friday night. When we left early, she called and she told me the whole story. Mm-hmm. And I headed home and picked up the kids And when I grabbed the kids, I said, let's go to the store. We'll get some stuff for dinner, figure out what we want to get for dinner. And we got Papa Murphy's. But when we went into Albertsons, I had the kids with me and I said, let's get mom something to cheer her up. Cause she just it's a pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is most people don't think about that stuff in schools and the jobs that people have, in those schools, from the teachers to the support staff, to the counselors, to everything that has to be done. And we were very fortunate and lucky that our kids are in a school that, for lack of a better term, is pretty well off.
Okay.
And doesn't have, there's not a big mix of students. And so it's surprising to move into a school like that. And I think back to my mom, who was a kindergarten teacher in a Title I school, where she had to give backpacks of food to kids for the weekend so that the kid could eat for the weekend.
I attended schools where that kind of thing happened, and you get used to it, but at the same time, you always kind of wonder, like, how can I help? What's wrong?
Yeah. And that's kind of last night we had talked on Friday. I thought maybe we get him like a little gift or a toy or something just to show him everything's okay, or that he's safe at school, or that he can talk to the anybody there at school if he has an issue. But on the walk, we totally forgot to go to get anything this weekend. I'm going to try and do that today and see if there's anything. But it's just something, it's one of those things like I'm thankful that my kids go to these schools. I'm thankful that they haven't had to worry about that. And
I'm just sad that the situation has to exist at all.
Exactly. And and Carly's told me some stories of, remember I joked about how there are people bringing their kids in first day of school and saying, hey, here he is. And they're like, who is that kid? And the parents are like, what are you talking about? I'm just dropping them off.
Realize
and they're like, no, you have to register the kid. We need their birth certificate. We need to know who you are. And they're like, oh,
I thought I could just leave this thing here. Sir, that's a child.
Yeah. I mean, it's just pretty crazy. So I just,
Yeah.
That was something that was big this weekend for us to talk about.
The opposite end of the spectrum from the helicopter parent is the latchkey kid and the kind of situation. So
yeah, but all in all, it was a good weekend. It was still a hard, rough weekend. The rain, but it cooled off. So I'm wearing a flannel because it's cooler today. But next weekend I'm going to try and get a couple more cars scheduled. I've been hunting generators, looking for generators. For the trailer.
You narrowed down to some options.
I'm really liking that Ego generator. I've been trying to do a lot of research on what the RV needs.
They use their battery tech from their other stuff in the generator. That's cool.
So I've been trying to figure that out and do a little research on that kind of stuff.
They're not cheap.
No, they're not, Dane. It's surprising. Cheap. And then you go, well, how much wattage do you want? And then the more wattage you want, the heavier they get.
Oh yeah, no, they're not light, and also fuel for them if you're going diesel or gas or something.
So I'm liking the option of if I can. I would love to just get a fully electric one.
Yeah,
hook it up to solar panels.
Mm-hmm. The only downside is just how many solar panels you need. Solar would be my preference always in those situations, just because if you're out in nature, you're not looking to disturb the peace. And the whole point, you're out in nature, you want to enjoy the nature.
Yeah.
So if you scare every animal away from your campsite, and some people may prefer that, but in my case, no, I want to have it feel like you're really out in the woods. So the noise just doesn't help.
Yeah, and if you want a really quiet, whisper quiet, the prices go up.
Yeah,
and
solar panels on the roof of a trailer that size would do quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'd love that. But even then,
the problem is most people don't have the area needed
to build that space. Yeah. So that's the other thing. So the folks that are running solar and they're like, yo, I'm full solar running, 8 panels on my roof, got the inverter, got the box, got everything. They're like, we're $4,000 into it. I go, now we're more than a generator, right? So I'm thinking a couple panels, an electric generator, and then I'm looking at a cheaper dual fuel, propane and gas.
Oh, propane. Okay.
Because I've got a lot of propane. I've got 60 gallons of propane on the trailer, so I can plug into that and utilize the propane to run the generator too. The biggest thing, so I've started doing a lot of research. The biggest thing is just that AC unit.
Yeah.
So the furnace runs on propane. The fridge runs on 12 volt. So really, it's mostly the fridge and
The
if you
fridge
try
and
to run
AC
a
are
coffee pod.
Gonna be your biggest
Yeah.
energy hog.
So if you try to run a coffee pod or run the AC or that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see what we can
I'm
get.
curious,
But
somebody
you don't run it all day; you run it a couple hours at a time.
Yeah. I mean, somebody out there, if you can do the math on like how much you need in the way of like solar panel cells, solar coverage to power an AC unit during the day kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
if you end up using more power while using the AC unit than you're able to generate during that same time in perfect sunlight, that's a hard time. You got to find that balance. So like how much do you need to offset that?
Yeah.
I'm curious like what the math on
Yeah,
that
no,
is.
and that's I'm not good at that.
No.
So I'm
Somebody out
trying
there,
to
if you're good at
watch a
math.
lot of videos and learn as
Yeah.
much as I can. So
Or if you have a link to a video, that's also helpful.
So it's part of that fun RV life.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
But-
cool though.
But yeah, but other than that, that was my weekend. So
Okay.
how was yours? What'd you do?
You know, it's one of those things where I always talk about, oh, my weekend was kind of, laid back, whatever. It was, but I've been doing a lot more in the way of healthy eating and fitness. So there's been a lot more of that
Good,
lately.
good.
Definitely got my exercise in. However, like you were saying, it was rainy this weekend. We had planned for the extended weekend. I was going to go meet up with my folks up north, kind of
Yeah.
Lake Cascade, all that stuff. We were going to rent a pontoon boat so the whole family could like go on there and just hang
Yeah.
out. And they were going to have a slide on top so the kids, my cousin's kids, could ride down it and all that.
Yeah.
Would have been super fun, but as the day came about, we weren't expecting there to be actual like lightning thunderstorm warnings
Yeah.
and stuff. So that kind of threw a wrench in the plans. But we still went up there. Liz and I went up, took the Jag, so it was super fun driving through the heavy rains when you get to the
Yeah.
canyons and stuff. And of course, everyone's like, how'd you get here so fast? And I'm like, well,
You're like, I was speeding.
confident. I was like,
speeding.
in my old Jag with just rear wheel drive, it would have been a little sketchier for sure. But in this one, I was very comfortable passing a lot of people, but doing it safely. And like the rain was heavy, but it was very confidence inspiring.
It's
It
a
was good time.
that's a pretty drive in the rain. I've done
I
that a
love
couple
it.
times.
So yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it, and Liz didn't seem to mind, so it was all
There you
good.
go.
So yeah, that was nice. Otherwise, I would have taken the Flex if I was taking the dog up there, but lately, she's just been a little bit slower. She's basically 14 now,
Yeah.
and it's like it's all happening at once this year, which is really it's starting to get at my my feelings. Oh no, here it comes. Because as a kid, you go through that phase. Your family has pets, and you get really sad when they pass away. But she's my first dog
Yeah.
that I ever bought with my own money, looked after, cared for ever since
Yeah,
2012. So it's been
that's
a
a
long
hard
time.
one. Yeah.
So I've had her since she was 2.5. So yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to when that happens. But at the same time, like right now, she's still happy. People think she's a puppy when they meet her. Like she kind of has that vibrance and that look. But when she tries to like hop upstairs or do anything, it's a little more
starting to feel
taxing
it,
than
yeah.
it used to be. It's like, oh boy, uh-oh.
See, my dog acts like that, but he's very young.
Okay.
Yeah. He's only like 5, and he acts like he's 14.
You're talking the Corgi here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we asked him if he wanted to go for a walk last night, and he just laid on the floor and looked at us. And we said, "Do you want to go for a walk, Watson? You want to go for a walk?" And like,
not
and he's
about
just laid on the floor.
Whereas Kelly, in my case, she can't wait. She's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's go on a walk. Let's go on a walk. I take her on a walk. After the first mile, she's dragging. And I'm like, oh no, this is not how you used to be. But at the same time, you don't want to be the jerk either looking to other people like the guy who's dragging his dog on a
Yeah.
walk that's tired. That doesn't look good. But also, I care about her. I don't want that happening to
Yeah.
her. So now I'm realizing if I want to go on those walks and stuff and I'm going to take her, I got to shorten it up a little bit. And then maybe I can go do my own thing a little further, do that, go to Camel's Back, all
Yeah.
that. But yeah, no, it's making adjustments. Not necessarily what you want to have happening, but no, I'm trying my best. So
Yeah.
anyway.
But you went up to but you went up to Cascade.
Yeah, went up to Cascade, had a good time up there. Basically, it was a mixture of mostly my mom's side of the family. So get up there. It is my cousin who's, like a decade older than me. My brother was there, and my cousin, his wife, their kids, who are like 5, 6 now.
Yeah.
And, having fun, just playing around, obviously balls of energy. But, really, really a lot of fun. I enjoyed hanging out with all those guys, but we only got to see them for a little while because we were only up there for the afternoon because we knew the sun would be going down. Wanted to get back home because we left the dog at home. She can't feed herself, so that kind of stuff. But at the
So your
same time,
folks
it's,
stayed up there?
Yeah, they
Okay.
stayed up there the 2 days prior.
Okay.
So they were up there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just up there to visit. We hung out in the village. So if you're not familiar with Tamarack, they have this kind of like alpine village that they built out. It's very authentic. Having been to, actual Switzerland and parts of Italy that this is designed to mimic, it's very faithful, very accurate. So I think that's super cool that, we get a little of that here in Idaho.
Yeah.
But in the summertime, it's a little bit different than obviously covered in snow. They got the axe throwing and stuff like that down there. They got a little Seven Devils tap house, and they were having some bluegrass, singers up there playing in some of the food court area where it was just kind of carrying through the village. It was cool. It was very cool. But with all the rain, it was mostly everybody inside, but it was temperate enough. Everybody had the doors open, so it was just kind of like humidity everywhere. But
it was nice.
Unusual for us here in Idaho. It's not.
It was nice that it cooled off.
I loved it, but it was a little bit different. But I can't necessarily think of anything too crazy that happened this weekend. Apart from that, it was mostly me going for like much more adventurous walks and like hikes than I used to. So just trying to get some more stuff like that in my system, out of my system, go do that, and then at the end of the day, I would watch a different movie every night because I figured, why not? So I was on a weird kick of like World War II movies.
Yeah. So
I was on several, but you got one? What
no,
you
I was
got?
just gonna say. So I know I've talked about this before, and it was probably years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember speaking about it on the podcast. One of my favorite weird channels to watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is a guy named Indy Mansell. Or Indy Nidell, or Indy. Anyway,
Okay.
He is he gets in front of the camera and he has a little set behind him. And his first one's called The Great War. That's the name of the YouTube channel. And he did a week by week, starting on the date, like on the day that World War I happened.
Yeah.
He went week by week through the entire timeline of World War I. And this time, he's doing World War II. So the new channel's called WW2.
Okay, so it's just dedicated to the one subject.
And World War II started first week of September in 1939. And so he started it a few years ago, but it's the goal is that it's 5 years of a full-on, and he does it like a news broadcast.
Oh, okay. So it has like that kind of stuff.
It adds some of the old things. He puts up pictures of the people that he's talking about. He did a whole setups of how, and then the Time Ghost Army, G. Davis, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's his other channel is Time Ghost. It's rad. It's really cool to see, especially if you want to learn a little more, because he goes week by week. Like Carly and I on Sunday morning or Monday morning watch like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
That's
the thing. I always
this
go
week,
through
like this week,
phases
next
of
week, and
interest.
the third week of September. Super cool.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of fun. His videos are 10 to 15 minutes long.
So it's bite-sized.
It's bite size, and it's literally like a news broadcast, but you're watching him tell you everything and why. Yeah.
Is he like
and he gives
acting
you,
like he's presenting it in real time?
So in World War I he does. In World War II he gives a bit of background history as well.
So context.
And why.
Okay.
And
cool.
so it's really surprising. Like what I didn't know was during that first week of World War II, the Nazis were literally not abiding by any of the Geneva Convention rules and kept actively stating that any POWs, anybody you find, anything, just kill them.
And that was their...
Just eradicate. And there was a number of soldiers who had joined the party that were like, wait, what are we doing? And a lot of leaders and captains in that party that would come in and go, whoa. Like, I'm all for taking over this country, going after Poland. Like, I'm okay with that, but I am not okay with us killing all these people. And they're like, the higher ups
had some like
the higher ups were like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Like,
and I mean, that's wild to hear. And then he would then say, who the commander so and so stated in that week, and the actual like printed news bite of what it
People finding
was.
out as they went along.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my
Um,
gosh. So it's more in depth, and I think that's kind of the neat thing is you go, I didn't know about that.
No, I
didn't
like
learn
that kind of
So-
detail. That's cool.
But you have to check it out. It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
No, I'll
Pretty
add
cool
that
setup.
to my stuff
So-
for sure. So thank you, G, also for pointing out. I was going to say briefly here before I talked about mine. Alex here.
Thank
saying
you,
he found
Alex.
an RV calculator for you. For
I would
solar.
love that.
So that is cool. Yeah. So, oh, Gabriel popping in there. Yes. One of the
G-Day
things
says, yep,
I-
he lives
I-
in Sweden. Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes
Yep.
sense. Gabriel, yes, I did have the exhaust done on the Flex, so it sounds very different. You guys heard it.
Yeah.
It's quite
Sounds fine.
meaty.
Sounds great. I love it.
I love the tone now, but for me, there's just this resonant frequency. I'm trying to get of a certain drone, and I found it when I'm driving at certain lower RPMs. It just, the whole car vibrates. I'm like, I need to get a resonator or X pipe to get rid of that. I don't want to lose the volume so much, but I think if I can combine the the two sides into one, cross them over, it'll create a smoother sound.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to try and do with that. But anyway, I think it's very cool. But no, the movies I was on, I ended up watching a bunch, but I didn't feel like doing any TV shows. I was just in a movie mood this weekend. So after each day of like, oh, okay, that's a lot of working out, I was just like, now I get a veg,
Nice.
and do the lazy thing. It's like I've done the hard work
Yeah.
today. Now I'm going to go watch. And sure enough, I started with U571, which I hadn't watched in a very long time. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is like Babyface McConaughey and, all these guys, basically
Yeah.
take over a German U-boat in like I can't remember, it was 1941 or 2. I think it's 41. But anyway, that's a whole fascinating thing where basically their sub gets, attacked because the whole point is they're trying to get the German Enigma machine, from the actual U-boats, and they find one and their ship gets destroyed. So they got to hop aboard this one and basically commandeer it, but it's already half incapacitated. So the entire story is just them trying to survive while everyone keeps coming up, figuring out, are they German? Oh, they're not German. And then they keep getting attacked because people keep finding out they're not
Yeah.
German at the last second. So yeah, that's an exciting movie. Hadn't watched that in a while. And I was on a sub kick. So after that one, I also watched K-19 Widowmaker.
Oh,
so I was like,
phew,
okay, another sub
submarine
movie
man.
I hadn't watched in a while because obviously, what was it, like 6-7 months ago, I'd watched Crimson Tide and The Hunt for the Red
Yeah,
October again. Hunt for the Red October is one I used to watch a lot as
It's a
kid.
great one, yeah.
I was big into Tom Clancy novels when I was like in my teens and stuff because everyone else is like, those books are so dense and just packed with random data. Like, you actually like that stuff? And me with my like car encyclopedia brain, I was like, yes, I like all the specs for all this,
Yeah.
military hardware and all these different things. Like, it's fascinating. The detail, it was just the way he wrote was compelling to me. But
Yeah.
obviously it's an acquired taste for some. But I don't know. I found that stuff interesting. And then I also watched Wind Talkers with Nicolas
Oh,
Cage.
yeah, smart. Nice.
Yeah. Mark Ruffalo's in that. I
Yeah.
totally forgot he was in
That's
that.
a good, I forgot I like that
Yeah.
one a lot.
And then I also watched, it was Hacksaw Ridge.
Okay.
That one also. So
I haven't seen
that's-
that one yet.
That one surprised me. It was basically where
Yeah, the kid's a conscientious
where he's a
objector.
conscientious objector. He refuses to pick up a rifle, but he wants to be a medic, and he's essentially punished for it until finally he just, And that one's actually a true story. Like, that guy was
Yeah.
real and did all this, and it was fascinating. But that one was surprisingly good. I hadn't watched it ever, so I was like, check it out. It popped up on HBO, so
Nice.
I watched it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. But anyway, I was on a bit of a kick this weekend, so that's what I was doing.
Nice. One of the series we started this weekend was not Wind Talk,
Sorry, I threw you off.
Dark Winds.
Dark Wind. Ooh,
It's
what's going
on
there?
so it's on AMC Plus, which just happened to be now is on HBO Max or on Max Original or whatever now it's called.
I hate how they keep changing that.
So they just added
service.
AMC to it.
They made a new app for it. How pointless was
I
that? It
know.
was so annoying having to switch over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So now they have AMC though. They added to it
Okay.
just recently, like this week.
okay, so like very recent.
Yeah. So Dark Winds is based on a book series. So Carly was like, she looked it up. She's like, oh my gosh, I used to love looking at these books when I'd stock them at Barnes and Noble.
It's cool cover art or
Yeah,
something.
she said the cover was always like it was Navajo art, but it was like a Pendleton blanket pattern.
Oh, okay.
Like
cool.
all the pattern, like the book spines and the back front of the book.
Oh, nice.
And it's a detective series, two detectives
Mm-hmm.
or cops, but they're Navajo police officers. and all of the series is about the two of them, and it takes place on the Navajo Nation.
I was going to say, are they on reservation then?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
And it's all the crimes and stories that they have to deal with.
Interesting.
And one thing about some of the Navajo Nation stories is that they are there's a lot of supernatural and spiritual setups with it too. So,
Okay, does it go the supernatural direction?
well, some of the books do. This series has a little bit in it. The TV show, they're
kind of like True Detective level.
Kind of,
where it's
yeah.
right on the
exactly
edge.
right on the
Okay,
edge of that, where you're like, what the heck is going on? So,
A little ambiguous.
but one thing that Carly and I are always kind of curious, and whenever there's anything that has to do with like Navajo Nation but the Navajo police, like the tribal police department, we've always been like, ooh. Like if it's like an unsolved mystery or one of those type of things, or like a Dateline that's like happened on the Navajo.
Yeah.
Like we're always like, oh, let's watch this and see. As Carly grew up, she knows a lot about it because she grew up near reservation land, and near tribal lands when she was a young child.
Okay.
And so she knows a little bit about it, but she grew up with that. And so she knows a lot more than I do in it. And so it was just super cool to see that. So I downloaded the first audiobook in that series, and the series is produced by Robert Redford and George R.R. Martin.
Cool.
And
Okay.
so my theory is that Robert Redford likes the book series, and George R.R. Martin is probably friends with the author. Because this is like a 30-book series.
I was just saying, how many people are screaming at George, just go finish your books. Don't do this.
But he's like, hey, I got some money. I'll help. Let's make you a TV show.
George, you're not going to live forever.
So the first season's on HBO Max, or on AMC.
Okay.
Which is on Max.
Which is on
and
Max,
then
okay.
Carly looked it up
So
last
that's a
night.
new edition on the service. Okay,
So Carly looked it up last night, and the third season just got greenlit by AMC. So there's going to be a second season that'll be coming to Max or to AMC Plus for the streaming. But
because I've been looking at
it's
maybe a new thing to start, and I was looking at Reservation Dogs or
Reservation Dogs.
Like
I started to get into. It's funny and it's good. I just couldn't. I haven't finished it.
Okay.
So
the other one I was looking at was The Bear, which I haven't.
I haven't
yet
checked
either,
out The Bear
so.
either. But yeah, no, this show is good. And then the new Interview with a Vampire that's also on AMC.
Oh.
We watched the first 2 episodes, and it's really good. So that's another one that's also on AMC.
Duly noted.
And they made it into a series.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty good. It's like I was really impressed. Sets are beautiful. Yeah,
They're actually trying.
Like they put some money into it. And so I was laughing because I thought that maybe Max, I had told Carly this joke. I said, I read an article about Max that HGTV is now the biggest powerhouse for Max.
Yeah.
And HGTV is like, hey,
how many different hunters series
we're going to
can
double
we
down
just
on some
put
house
in
hunters.
this?
And so I go, I guarantee that HBO was like, hey, we're going to bring AMC because they got good series, and we need some. We need something that's a little,
balance it out from this, super family friendly reality TV. You want something like a little edgier, please. No,
we need
get
some good
that.
series.
Yeah,
So
we need something that keeps the grown-ups around.
So Neil, my wife just finished that book, and she is. I started to read it. I haven't finished up that. That is a fascinating, fascinating story.
That's going to be Scorsese, isn't it? Yeah,
and it's originally they weren't going to put it out nationwide. It was going to be in select theaters, so we were hoping it'd come to Boise. And they just announced last week that it is going full nationwide release in theaters.
I hope so.
And I'm excited and happy for that because the tale is one that I didn't even know. I was never taught about it in history.
There's a lot of things left out of history classes.
That's one of those things that is absolutely fascinating. So yeah, Neil, that is a great one. So
well, and I obviously, well, I know Carly has like a connection to it. For me, living up in the Pacific Northwest, obviously different tribes and stuff up there, and went to school with a lot of kids who were from different tribes and stuff. And it was always a cool experience as part of a childhood, just getting to kind of see different culture, that kind of thing, in an area where, it's otherwise just kind of predominantly same. So, I was always kind of into that, even if it was just base aesthetic. Obviously, there's a lot of lore there and everything too. Want to respect that, but No, I always found it interesting. So yeah, when those stories come up, I'm always curious to check them out.
Yeah, super cool. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, thanks, Neil, for that. Appreciate it.
And we got Dino saying hello. Hello,
What's
Dino.
up, Dino?
Welcome,
Morning,
welcome.
Neil.
And yeah, obviously, without Anthony here to tell us some crazy story, we're just kind of chilling. So, I mean, if you don't mind, we've got a little bit of time. I was going to, just kind of delve us into some detailing related stuff, as far as products go, things maybe people want to ask questions about. If you want to throw it out here, you can kind of get a longer form thing. If you guys are curious to ask something, this would be a good time to do it. Otherwise, let's do some kind
so
of
here's
basic
another
stuff.
thing I was going to tell you before we get into the detailing.
Sure,
So G's right. The Germans could have been stopped in September of 39.
Correct.
Dane, we'll play some of those videos so you can see. It's crazy to watch and realize that Poland was saying, "Hey, where's our allies?"
Yeah, they're like,
and it was England
hello?
and England and France, and England and France were both going like, "Well, we could send you some soldiers, but we just thought if we just meant like we would have your back, not to provoke Hitler, but I mean he's already there, and like we're not really ready."
Yeah,
to
no,
go
they were
it's-
waffling.
It
a
was
lot.
so amazing to go like, wait, neither. It'd been 3 weeks they'd been under attack, and neither country had even moved to do anything.
Well, and
Like-
like in the case of the U.S. here, we were all
And
just
they-
kind of sitting isolationist.
Well,
just kinda
yeah,
going,
we did the
yeah,
same,
we're not gonna.
But they were
get
actual
involved.
allies to Poland.
Right.
And Poland said, if Germany attacks, you have to have our back. And they're like, we got you. We got you.
Kind of like a NATO style situation.
And they kept playing it and
Yeah.
talking about that. And then you go, oh my gosh, it's 3 weeks. And they're like, and the allies did nothing yet.
Yeah,
And so,
womp womp, yeah.
So it was super frustrating because like if England and France had just joined up and helped, it probably would have. It
could have at least curbed that heavily.
Yeah. It could have at least helped.
So
That-
that would have been
Otherwise, I mean,
very
he was
interesting turn.
unopposed for almost a month.
Yeah. You imagine if that whole thing just hadn't happened.
30 days of just like no one stopping him.
Now, granted, just because that part gets stopped doesn't mean all the other stuff that they'd already been doing prior from like 31, 33, thereabouts.
Yeah, no, there was still a lot
they
of
were
craziness.
doing a lot of horrible things in their own country before it even got to that point.
No, it was
but,
crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, pretty nuts. Damon wants to phone me. Sorry, Damon, we're not going to phone me.
Damon brought that up because he said he was looking at the old video where
You guys
Anthony
got
and I
foam?
got
Yeah,
foam, but
that
he
was
was
a
like
good time.
using it as a helpful reference for figuring out like what kind of foam he wanted. And that was something that came up. That was actually a conversation I saw.
That was a
this
really good
weekend.
video, too.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say, I saw people talking about Stair Under Glass, obviously, with the sale we had going on last week. G, among other people, was like, I tried most of their stuff, but I haven't tried the foams at all. And the guys are like, those are the best part.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
No, and that's
if you have
I need to buy
should.
some more snow and Mata because that's one of my favorite things with same with Anthony is doing that with creating what we called coconut earth, which is taking snow and mixing it with Mata. And I remember telling him that. I go, you should try this, pretty rad. And I go, it smells really good.
Yeah.
And then he did it, and he called it coconut earth because snow smells like coconut, and then Mata has a very fresh pine scent. It's a very unique.
It smells like rich forest soil.
Yeah, but not dirt. It smells like a pine tree. Like you can
I'm saying,
smell
like
it.
with
But
the needles and all that.
It's a rich
kind of
foresty
vibe.
scent, and so it's cool when you mix the two together.
It's really nice.
Neil saying, Dane and Levi, have you guys been to any of the sites of World War II? I've been to Pearl Harbor. I have not been to Pearl Harbor.
I was going to say I've flown over it many a time, but
Yeah.
that was usually like visiting for a family vacation. I always look down at, the ships. They still got, a couple in the harbor there, as a monument of sorts. But, I mean, we've also been to other locations.
Well, we've been to...
Anthony went to some of the camps, I know.
Yeah, Anthony went to some of the camps. You and I, when we were in Coventry,
Yeah.
we learned about some of the bombings. I went to the church that was bombed out during the war.
I mean, a lot of the tube was essentially a bomb shelter. So.
And then in London, we've heard some stories as to where, they would had all those areas. And then when we were in Frankfurt, Lars would tell stories as we would walk in the morning. So, yeah.
Well,
some of that. But, I mean, I haven't been to actual, like,
Yeah, and as far as
sites
like places
other than
where
the Coventry.
nothing happened, I've been to actual, forts and fortresses when I lived up in Washington and Oregon and stuff like that, where they had forts built
Yeah.
for a potential, if, we get attacked from the Pacific, we need to have, bases and forts here and stuff. I used to go to those all the time
Yeah.
as a kid because
I'm a
they're
nerd
really
for
cool
history.
place to play around. But yeah, no, walking through some of those like underground tunnels and stuff is trippy.
Brett, Levi, curious how you pressure wash with the outdoor wash bay in the winter. I've been thinking about trying to add drains and flooring to my garage. So, Brett, I usually, in Boise, it's pretty mild still for winter, but I hook my pressure washer up to my inside water. So I have these two outlets in my garage. One's cold and one's hot. And the cold water is house water, so it's heated dish. It's not main.
full-on
It's
heated.
not outside water.
Okay.
And so I usually use that, and that gives me quite a bit of water. I put my pressure washer in my garage, like right at the door, and run the hose in from that wall to it, and then I wash usually outside, and I try to do most of the heavy outdoor stuff. I don't foam. Usually I don't, because that turns to ice. I usually spray a degreaser, pressure wash all the sand and grime and some of the heavy stuff off. And then I usually pull the car into the garage and rinseless wash the rest of it.
Oh, you bumped your bike a little there.
But I'll rinseless wash the rest of it in the garage.
Yeah.
But when I use the pressure washer, unless it's above 30 degrees, if it's anything below 20, I don't try to do much washing outside.
Yeah.
If it's 10 degrees and I have a car, I take that car to a car wash
Yeah.
and I use their pressure washer
Just to get
because
things started.
it's
at least.
heated.
Yeah.
And I could run hot water through my pressure washer, but my pressure washer is not designed to run hot water, and my seals aren't designed to handle hot
Right.
water.
Just because you can
And it's
doesn't mean
hot
it's
water
gonna
out of
be
my
able to handle
and it's
it.
hot water out of my water heater,
Yeah.
which I have set fairly high.
Well, and your hose needs to be hot water friendly. You've got
Yeah,
the seals
there's a
that
lot
need
of
to be-
like it
there's
melts
several
O-rings.
things.
It does a lot of stuff. So what I'll usually do is drive, especially if the roads are dry, because it's 10 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And it's just mostly sand and some
it gets
stuff.
very cold here. It's just we don't tend to get a ton of precipitation.
Yeah,
in the
so
winter.
I'll drive up to the car wash. I'll blast everything off. Same thing, fender wells, all that stuff. I might use a soap and a water just to clean some of the scale off of it. And then I'll rinse it with a spot-free rinse.
Yeah.
And then I'll drive it home wet. And then I'll get it home, park it in the garage. Garage is heated. And then I'll rinseless wash and blow out the fender wells and stuff. And usually I can just grab an air gun and blast out the leftover sand or anything that's in the fender wells.
Yeah.
And then I work on the car. But that's usually what I do. The biggest thing is just watching the temperature. Anything below 20, if you're spraying stuff, will start to freeze. When I had my shop, we'd work outside when it was 20, 30 degrees.
Sure.
But if it got below 20,
Stuff starts to freeze.
yeah,
really
you'd
faster.
spray, even if you're running the heat in the car's on and you're cleaning an interior. If it's 10 degrees outside and you're spraying an express, it's going to freeze on the door panels as soon as it hits because it's so small.
And yeah, especially if it's small. I mean, there's definitely a difference from chemical to chemical as far as what freezes first. Different chemical compositions are more susceptible to that kind of thing. But that's not really something you want to play games with on a customer's car.
Yeah.
Because you may think, I'm just going to be real quick about this. And it ends up costing you a ton of time because you used something that froze. Then you had to fight all that and then try and redo it. Next thing you know, you're just going through a constant cycle.
Yeah, it's just not worth
set
it.
up, fail, set up, fail. And just, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people, I was reading on my long weekend, I was reading a bunch of like forum posts of people who still are somehow in this day and age not, convinced by rinseless washing and think, it's just a waste of that. Why would anybody
I saw that on
rinseless
Reddit.
wash when obviously it's a compromise? You need to soap wash because it's better.
Yeah.
And it's just not understood amongst those folks that actually, if you were to rinseless wash every day forever as opposed to soap washing, you'd probably wind up with a net positive in terms of results.
Well, what most people don't realize is more times you rinseless wash, the cleaner your car stays. So your car is always clean.
Yeah.
Fairly clean when you go to rinseless wash it again. And that's what most people don't realize because they're used to just doing a soap wash. They're not using a drying aid. They're not using any type of sealant or anything to protect it. And they're washing every week, soap and water, because that's how they were trained. But when they learn how to rinseless properly and they're using the right product, all of a sudden they go, oh, this is great. Holy crap.
I think it's just that hurdle that it's got to be snake
But I got a
oil
friend like that. He keeps his stuff immaculate, but he just can't wrap his mind around it. He's learned that he can wipe his car down, and he does it when he has to wipe a car down, but he only uses rinseless when his cars haven't been out of the garage in months.
So
and they have a car cover on
He
them.
just doesn't trust it enough.
No.
Okay.
So if he drove his truck around and his truck was clean when he left and he went and ran a bunch of errands that day, you'd still pull out a bucket of soap and water and wash it. He wouldn't use rinseless, even though I say, hey, you're good to go. Your truck's not that bad.
Yeah.
He just can't
and
wrap his mind around it.
That just comes down to somebody.
And he's got the education. He understands why.
Yeah.
I told him. I've explained to him. I've shown him. I even showed him how to do it at his job for his work trucks. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to run it down the street, run it through the car wash.
I mean, once again, you can't convince everybody, but I would say to anybody who would actually listen and give it a chance, if you're open-minded enough to it, I'm comfortable saying it's better.
Well, and that's why I stopped.
It just is better.
But that's why I stopped, like, fighting people.
In the overall experience, the efficiency, all that stuff, you can move on and do other things.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to, it's like when people used to say, yeah, but the car wash is cheaper. Yeah. Okay, go to the car wash. Like, I'm not going to argue with you on it. If you like using the car wash, use the car wash.
Yeah.
The result is a clean car.
Yeah. Here, let's answer,
so Brett,
JoJo
icing the
real quick.
driveway is my concern. Yeah, you can just, you can have that. I mean, like I said, watch the temperature. If it's 37, it's not going to ice.
Yeah.
If it's over 32, it's not going to ice. If it is, and you care about Spalding, put some kitty litter down or some sand.
Preempt,
Yeah, put some of that down just so you don't have to worry. My driveway was already starting to crack and Spalding, so I just used de-icer.
Yeah.
I don't worry about it because it's just gonna continue to break.
My driveway weird amalgam
I've got
of
custom
like,
traction spots.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. No, if all else fails, you got a little dip there. You can just walk right in, keep going. Yeah, it's great.
So
I was gonna say, when Forced X asked JoJo.
So Forced X is available not at the Rag Company, but it is available at Clean and Shiny UK. Mm-hmm. It might be available at the Rag Company .shop, which is EU.
Yeah.
The reason that we don't have it is on our latest reorder of Stjarnaglas, we have to buy enough to fill a 40-foot container. That's a lot of Stjarnaglas.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were filling that container, Forced X was still about 6 weeks away from being ready. And we were filling the container. Now, mind you, when that container leaves the UK and comes to the US,
takes at least a month just to get.
It's on a boat for a month. It's on docks for a couple weeks, and then it's on a train for a week. So
essentially, you're talking about 2 to 3 months.
So for us, when all was said and done, we couldn't let that container sit. One, we can't let the container sit on their property for 6 weeks because they don't have the space for it. Two, when they dropped that container, they had less than 24 hours to fill the container.
Right.
Because the company was coming to pick it up. So we couldn't let it sit. We couldn't push it out another 6 weeks to get it. That was what their timeline was, that it was going to be ready. We couldn't push it out. It just wasn't doable. So we had to ship that container minus 4 stacks. Now, for us to bring in a pallet or a few cases of it is going to raise the price so much that you wouldn't want to buy 4 stacks. The price would be too much.
Just
now,
being honest here. That's
something for us where we go, God, I don't want to charge you that much for this much product. And it's just not... Forced X is a great product. Jack has sent Anthony and I bottles of it. We've used it. It's awesome. It's highly dilutable. But Forced is still a great product and still a king. I burned through my Forced X and I was like, yeah, good. And I opened up my 5 liter of Forced. I didn't notice that big of a difference between the two. Just that it was more, I was still diluting it the same amount between the two products. So I didn't notice any more heavier cleaning. I just noticed that it did the same thing pretty much.
In terms of benefits, it could be region specific.
And it might be, but it's still
our conditions can differ a bit.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's super awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I was able to, I liked it. I was like, this is a good product. I'd love to have it.
This is something that's just a pet peeve of mine, being, in the business of when you sell detail products, when something new comes along, people just assume that the old one somehow suddenly became terrible overnight.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not true. That's not remotely true. It was good before. It's still really good.
Yeah.
That part has not changed. It's just there's a new shiny thing you're interested in. That is great, but at the same time, it has no impact on the quality of what's already there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what your preferences are, what you want to do. And I'm not saying you specifically, JoJo, are having that thought, but I think a lot of people tend to fall into that trap of, ooh, squirrel, ooh, shiny new thing. And then they just go, I don't want any of that other stuff because now the new thing is here. Or this one, I feel bad about, because if you've ever been in that position, it kind of sucks. But the reality is, like, when a sale kicks off right after you bought something and people are like, whoa, I could have gotten that price and I didn't. It's just like, yeah, but you bought yesterday, you didn't buy today. I'm sorry, but that's not, that happens. But that's the case all around the world. And that's just something that, you end up having to deal with. But you can't get too indignant about it because, hey, next time, wait for the sale if that's your concern.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm sorry. I'm going off on a pet
Joey says he's going to tap into his arc reactor to keep himself warm this winter. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hey.
So Kimberly's going on a found sandwich fingerprints on my It's funny. And then Too Fresh, I ordered GSF. Should be here. I want to use it for foam rinse, foam process, and absolute. And the second foam still in the car. What are your thoughts on that? You can do that. I don't think you're going to notice a benefit.
No.
In a foam rinse foam and then use absolute with the second foam on the car. You're
going to wind up with a clean car, but it's still the same clean car you would have wound up with otherwise.
The encapsulation properties of absolute are going to be greater than having that second foam on the car.
Yes.
By itself. So you can do a foam and then a rinse, and then here's what I would do. I would do a pre-rinse with absolute and then wash with absolute and skip that second foam. That's what I would do.
And then Kim here. Upside is not too many busts or heavy dusting thanks to the fresh rinseless topped with paint gloss.
Nice.
Yes. And may the force be with you. JoJo saying, understood, much appreciated, fellers. Absolutely, JoJo. Yep. And, Kim using force.
Nice. Good job.
Using Knobby Wrangler tires. Oh, yeah. No, that's a good place for it. Especially having a product that's a little bit stronger when you got to use it on knobbly tires that have a lot of different grooves and peaks and valleys. I literally
love Forced for that. And it is my favorite pre-cleaner.
It's strong enough that if it gets into a spot where you're like having a hard time getting in there, at least if the product falls in there, you're like, it's going to do its job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So confidence inspiring, at least.
Yeah.
But nobody who's used Force was disappointed. I don't think I've heard anybody who said that.
Yeah.
But no, the products are really enjoyable. It's just a matter of introducing it to new people who maybe are really kind of set in their ways. They like what they like and they don't want to venture off too much. I get it, but I also know that amongst the detailing crowd, the enthusiast types can really get hung up on the latest, greatest, new, different, all that stuff, and you want to try all the things. That was your opportunity last week, was to take advantage. So I hope many of you did.
Hopefully everybody got a chance to pick up some great goodies during our sale. And the next sale...
I was going to say, people are obviously going to ask.
They're wondering what's happening next.
Well, we just had one, so it's going to be a minute. But we have some fun plans.
Well, I'll just tell you, everybody wonders. Everybody misses out on this.
Yeah.
Everybody goes, when's this happening? So I am just going to say, mark your calendars. So, last year, people missed out.
everybody loved that
On
shirt.
the
And they're so
Halloween
mad
shirt.
they didn't get them. And it's like,
Right?
guys,
Every year,
pay attention.
every year, we do a different Halloween shirt. Mm-hmm. Every year. And everybody goes,
And it's
I
always a
forgot."
banger. And then people after the fact are like, oh, I held off and waited, and then my size wasn't available. It's like,
Yep.
you got to be there.
So-
You got to be there.
So I'm just giving you a heads up. If you guys haven't signed up for the newsletter, please sign up for the newsletter, ragcompany.com. Go down to the bottom, sign up for it. If you've hidden it, if it's gone to your spam, mark it, notify it, make sure it's available so that you know exactly when that shirt drops, because it's going to be coming up in October and you need to jump on it.
Now, without spoiling too much,
I'm not going to tell them anything about it.
No. I have heard that maybe one of our vehicles winds up on it somehow.
Who
in a
knows?
thing. So,
But the point
be
is,
interesting.
you got to sign up to know that it's coming.
Yeah.
And so I really want you guys to just make sure that you know that it's ready, that it's coming,
can we
that it's
pull
happening.
that up to show people how to get on the newsletter real quick?
They can,
Just like
yeah, go
walk
to the
you through
website.
it. If that's possible, please. Thank you so, much. All right.
Go to the website, scroll down,
Down,
since
down.
Nick's already been into the website.
Yeah.
But there was our Halloween shirt from a
Yeah.
couple years ago. And then, all the way down here. And then there's a...
Where it says the details right
yep,
there.
right there. The details. Your 15% off coupon code is waiting. Sign up right there. You get a coupon code if you've
That's
never
right.
signed up
You
before.
don't have to wait for a sale. If you're a new person
No.
to the newsletter, you
It's
instantly
15%
get
off
15.
your entire order.
It is awesome.
It's a great deal, great setup. So
Yeah. And one last thing here, as we're wrapping up, I wanted to point out, if you scroll up just a hair there and you go to
the Grambassadors.
Instagram Grambassador lineup there, we can pull that up and show our friends. If you don't mind giving that a click, it should go to the post. All right,
kick us
maybe it
out?
loads.
So,
There it
Grambassador Showdown 2023 is live. Those are your contestants.
Yes. So if you're wondering, hey, these guys look kind of familiar. Well, number one, those aren't real people you're seeing right there, but they're meant to represent the people who are
Yeah.
involved, who have been previous Grambassadors. They were not the winners of each year, but we're giving them a chance, just one last chance to fight for that crown.
Yep.
So for 2023, the way it's going to work is these guys are going to battle it out just for a few months up until
4
December.
months. Yeah.
And that's going to be the end of it. And these guys, one of them will be crowned Grambassador of the Year 2023. And that is going to be a lot of fun. These guys are really going to duke it out. They already know how it works, what's expected, and I'm really excited to see what they do. But if you're wondering, if you're somebody who's like, hey, Rag Company, sponsor me. I've been waiting to get sponsored. In December, we will start up the new sign-up sheet
for 2024.
And that will be your opportunity to get in the running. And that's where we're going to be introducing new blood, new folks into the
Yep.
thing. So, yes, this time around, this is just I think we decided like once every 4 or 5 years we're going to do this kind of thing. It's going to be a long gap between them, but it's fun. But in the meantime, guys, prepare for December. If you're somebody new who wants to get in the Grambassador game, that's going to be your opportunity right there for 2024. Wait for December. Go to our Instagram profile in December, and you should see a special sheet come up. That's going to be the area where you fill out your information. And if you get selected, you could be part of the running for Grambassador Showdown sometime in the future.
Yep.
So anyway.
Super exciting, super fun. Make sure you follow all of those guys and
look
and
at all these guys.
and get on there and get them up. So that way you can join in and watch the Gram Slam 2023.
Whoa!
And
There's a guy I
Joe
haven't seen in a
Wetzel
while.
popping
Joe!
in. Joe, so asking about the Diamond Protect spray sealant. So we had to pull it. And we pulled all the product because what was happening was the bottles they were using actually were absorbing oxygen from the atmosphere.
Super weird.
Very weird. And what it was causing was the product to start to harden inside the bottle.
Well, it's like it oxidized.
It was oxidized. Basically, it was deteriorating the product. So for those of you that have it, that maybe have some floaties, it's still good. It was this latest batch that this bottle manufacturer that got... The point is they pulled them. They're swapping to a different bottle that doesn't have that problem.
So if you have an older one, you could potentially be fine.
Yeah,
It's
an
just a
older one
matter
you
if
could be
had this
fine.
later batch,
Yeah, so we had to pull them, and so that's why you're not finding it on the site. Don't worry, it'll be back.
But if you happen
soon
to get
when
one,
we get that done.
if you happen to get one and you had an issue with it, please reach out.
Well, and the other
we
thing
can-
is you can
yeah.
also, if you think maybe you have a bottle, just put it in a Ziploc bag. Get a gallon-sized
Yeah.
Ziploc bag and seal it up. Just don't let
Squeeze the air
oxygen-
out of the
yeah.
bag first, too.
Yeah, but that's
Vacuum
the
seal
way
it.
to use it, or to keep it safe.
If you're not sure, that is a good way to
But
do
if you got one of the first generation bottles, you should be
Yeah.
fine. And we've noticed that some of those floaties were caused from just the bottling process itself, the absorption of having some oxygen in the bottle.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Former GB of the Year, Alex.
But they're
wishing
on it. And they're
everyone
working
good
on
luck.
it. So
All right.
Cool.
Well, that was fun.
thanks for
That
tuning
actually
in.
flew by. I
Yeah.
was surprised by that. You know, it was low key. It wasn't the same as like Anthony talking about some insane person he met over the weekend and had a crazy thing. But sometimes
Always happens
you get
to
it.
him.
Yeah, it's amazing. He just keeps finding these situations, but they're real because I've seen it happen. But at the same time, it's just it's a different kind of show. That's why I called it Change of Plans. Anyway, anything left to add before we go?
No,
to
that's it.
Okay.
I think
well,
I'm good.
all of you know what to do. We're going to be hanging out here, obviously, until Q&A Thursday, which is where you can ask most of your detailing questions. You got a little taste of it here today, but most of it's going to be happening over on Q&A Thursday. So, as always, hang out here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click like on this video before you leave, and we will see you later this week at 2 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday for Q&A Thursday, where we answer your detailing questions. Otherwise, have a great week. We'll see you.
See ya.